Associated Press, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is the Associated Press. Station, the Associated Press. How do you hear?
I hear you okay, Marcia. You're a little bit broken.
Well, I'll get started. I have an echo in my ear as well. Greetings, gentlemen, from the Kennedy Space Center. I'd like to start off with a progress update. How optimistic are you that the progress can be salvaged at this point? And is it unfortunately a goner in your view?
Well, we were both told recently by both the U.S. and Russian flight control centers that Roscosmos announced that the Progress will not be docking and will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere here some days in the future to be determined. But the Progress is not coming to this Progress is not coming to the space station.
Well, now tell me, what kind of an impact do you expect on your day-to-day life up there? And was there something in particular you had been looking forward to getting?
Well, we have a lot of redundancy on board the space station. We you know, the program plans for these kind of things to happen. They're very unfortunate when they do, but we do have supplies on board, and you know, one of the great things about this international partnership is that we do have other vehicles that can resupply the space station. You know, when we had the Columbia accident, we were fortunate to have the Soyuz to be able to keep the space station manned, and we have other vehicles now, SpaceX, HTV, and hopefully Orbital soon that can continue to resupply us. So we should be okay. Long-term impact, you know, the both programs are looking at that right now. But I think we're going to be in good shape.
Partial liking to, like an inclination, I should say. Was there anything in particular that you're really sorry that you're not going to get at this point in time?
Well, I'm not familiar with everything that was on the vehicle. I know the stuff that was on the manifested for the U.S. operational segment, which was a lot of clothing for Kjell Lindgren and Kimia Yui, also some EVA hardware. But, you know, the important thing is hardware can be replaced, and we'll replace all that hardware, and we'll continue to operate the space station.
All right. Well, moving on to other matters, you're 1 month into a one-year mission. What's been the hardest and easiest thing to get used to so far? I'll ask that of both of you.
Well, for me, nothing's been hard to get used to. I felt like I had just left, both physically and you know, mentally, in my ability to operate on board the space station. So, you know, I'm feeling great. Looking forward to a great mission, and I'll hand the mic over to Misha.
Mikhail, вы пролетали уже 1 месяц из годичной экспедиции.
Еще раз.
Вы пролетали уже 1 месяц из годичной экспедиции, то есть 1/10 часть работы сделана. Как вы себя чувствуете в этой связи?
I feel pretty well with good team. I don't worry about anything. Of course, progress is a big concern and big. Но это немножко подрывает наши планы.
It slightly changes our plans, but as Scott said, we are quiet, and we are 100% confident that we will be living and working very productively on board of the International Space Station up until the time when the next cargo vehicle is going to come. And we don't have any problems. We have outstanding psychological support, and everything is fine, with the slight exception of the progress situation.
Oh, thank you. What are some of the biggest changes up there that you've noticed since your last visits?
When I was here last, we had just gotten the PMM on board the space station, and now we're using it for a lot of our stowage. So that's cleared up a lot of other areas on board the space station. So that's one change. It makes working easier when you don't have as much stuff, in your way in the working modules. So that's nice. We have 4 space-to-ground channels now. That's very helpful. That kind of smooths out operations with regards to our ability to communicate with the ground. We also have iPads that we use for some procedures, and that gives you a little bit more flexibility on working in tight or awkward locations on board, and having the procedure right there with you. So that's some of the changes, positive changes all. Otherwise, the space station really looks a lot like it did, for me 4 years ago, which is a good sign. I think it's, great material condition here on board, and we should be able to continue to do great work here for many, many years to come.
Well, you mentioned iPads. I also heard noted that you've got a big screen TV, so to speak, for updates, for training, for movies. Tell me more about that, how you're putting it to use and how much better it can make your experience.
Well, currently, or prior to getting the HD projector, we use the laptops. And when you're doing a video conference on the laptops, the people on the other end are small. If you want to show us hardware or, write on a whiteboard, for instance, that kind of thing, doing it on the laptop makes it a little bit more challenging. Also, we have some software that we often use for training on the laptop. And sometimes, like for EVA procedure reviews, you might all get around one laptop and, talk about translation paths and work sites on this hardware in the software that we use to display the outside of the space station. Now we can do it on a much bigger screen, and we can also use it to watch television and watch movies. So, it serves a work purpose. It also serves an entertainment purpose, and it's really a welcome improvement on board.
How big is that screen? How many inches is it? Do you know?
It's pretty. The screen itself, we have a screen we put up is pretty big, but we don't leave it up all the time. We've only used it twice to watch a couple of movies. It's probably about, I'd say 60 inches, maybe 65 inches. But we put it away immediately. Like I said, it's big. It gets in the way. But we also project this. The projector projects also on a smaller makeshift screen that we use some fire retardant, what's called a CTB dividers that we have out all the time. So the projector is used more for other things, watching the news and, like I said, the video conferences, the software, where we don't use the screen itself. So the screen's great for movies, but it's not out hardly at all.
Well, my last question, how cool is it to watch a space movie in space? I can't help but ask that. Have you tried the espresso yet? And signing off from Kennedy Space Center. Godspeed and good luck.
Thanks, Marcia. Yeah, we have not used the espresso machine yet. It's in the process. Samantha's in the process of setting it up. And, it's cool to watch movies in space. Interesting watching, a movie about the space station in space. Really impressed at how realistic the inside and outside of the space station looked. We've all seen that movie before, so it wasn't new, but it was interesting to see it from this perspective.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the Associated Press portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from Westwood One.
Station, this is Westwood One. How do you hear me?
Westwood One, we hear you loud and clear.
Great. Joining us from the International Space Station, astronaut Scott Kelly and cosmonaut Mikhail Kornienko, crew members of the one-year mission aboard the ISS, the most comprehensive test yet of long-duration spaceflight in zero gravity. Scott and Mikhail, greetings. Здравствуйте. Scott, good morning.
Good morning to you. I'm not sure where you are. You might be in Los Angeles, but greetings to you there in the U.S.
Washington, D.C., Scott. You've both been in space for a month now and won't return to Earth until the spring of 2016. How far away does that seem to you, Scott?
Well, I'm trying not to think about how far away that is because it is pretty far. I'm kind of taking this one day at a time, looking ahead, a little bit into the future for work-related and planning purposes, but trying not to, count down the days, to when I get home. A friend of mine suggested maybe it's better to count the days, count up versus counting down. Haven't started doing that yet either, but a year is a long time. This is close to a year here, but I haven't started thinking about the end of it yet.
Your physiological changes are going to be compared to twin brother, retired astronaut Mark Kelly back on Earth. So you get the glory here, Scott. Puts a new spin on sibling rivalry.
Well, my brother's really happy that he can still participate with our program, with the space program in NASA, in this study. So, he retired a number of years ago, had a very, productive and successful career at NASA. So he's just happy to be a part of it, and I am too. We just, often in life you serve in different roles, and these are the roles we have right now.
Are you gaining or losing weight?
Neither.
Constant, huh? Is there ever a question, Scott, of becoming bored up there in the ISS?
Well, I wouldn't say bored because it's a very interesting environment. There's a lot of work to do here. We do a lot of great cutting edge science, but you do never leave. You never get to leave your place of work, so that makes it somewhat of a mental challenge there, where you're kind of always on. You always feel like you can never relax completely. So I would never say the place gets boring, but you do never get to leave.
How is the exercise equipment? We understand you spend a good deal of time on both the ARED, the Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, and the treadmill named Colbert.
The exercise, we have that exercise equipment. We also have exercise equipment in the Russian segment that the cosmonauts use. They have a treadmill and a cycle ergometer, and we have a cycle ergometer here as well. The exercise equipment is great. Particularly the resistive exercise device we have, it makes it seem like you're lifting real weight in space. And often when you have a weightlifting device on Earth, and it's not, something, or it's something that doesn't use real weight, you can often tell this feels like the real thing, which is really a testament to the great team that built this, what's called ARED, Advanced Resistive Exercise Device, that, we all come to love up here on the space station.
Do you think the changes in your body over this period of time will be profound or kind of on the minor side?
There's a lot we know already about the changes that occur over time in space. We know we lose bone mass, and we exercise a lot to mitigate that. We can lose muscle mass, but also the exercise prevents that. We have recently discovered a phenomenon with people's vision and swelling of the optic nerve and other structural changes that occur within the eye. And that's something that we're, very hard at work investigating, trying to learn more about it to come up with countermeasures. So, With regards to that, I don't know what the results will be. If it's, we're going to see similar things to a 6-month flight, or if there's some increase, or potentially that those changes level off at a certain point. That's something we're looking at. Also, the effect of radiation in the space environment on us on a genetic level with regards to our RNA and DNA. That's something that this study with my brother is looking at. So, I think some of the things will probably be similar to the 6-month flight, and some may be very much different. And that's why we're here investigating these things to find out and find ways that we can mitigate these negative effects.
Scott, you watched the movie Gravity this week. Isn't that kind of like a deep-sea fisherman watching Jaws?
Yeah, it kind of is. We had all seen the movie before. I thought it'd be interesting to watch it up here because it is pretty fascinating, the level of detail that they were able to recreate in the movie, and how a lot of it does look very similar to the space station. So it was a lot of fun to be able to watch that movie on the space station.
So many great exploits in space, starting with Yuri Gagarin 54 years ago, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin 46 years ago, nearly 17 years since the ISS was launched. What do you suppose will be the next giant leap for mankind in space?
Well, I don't know what it'll be. I would like it to be some time in my lifetime going to, having people step foot on Mars. I think that's a great destination and goal for us. I hope that this space station and the research we do here will help make that happen. This is a great facility for doing all kinds of research. I think one of the best experiments about the space station is the space station itself. Building a facility that allows us to live and work for long periods of time in this very harsh environment, whether it's producing water from our urine and using that water to produce oxygen and use it for us to consume, to sustain our lives, to scrubbing the atmosphere of carbon dioxide, producing electricity from the solar arrays, and keeping all these systems operating, 24/7, 365 days a year, and like you said, for 17 years, is an amazing engineering feat, and something that's going to be critical to us, going further from Earth someday.
A lot of us would like to be up there with you, Scott. Do you think space tourism will actually happen in our lifetimes?
Well, it's been happening for many years now. The Russian space agency, Roscosmos, has been flying tourists here aboard the space station. I'm not exactly sure what number we would be up to yet, 7 or 8. It'd be number 8. The next one would be number 8. So we've been doing it. I'd love for it to be more frequent, to have people be able to come to this, a harsh environment, but pretty amazing place. And, it'd be great if some of these commercial companies get off the ground, and hopefully they'll be doing that soon, where we can have more paying customers fly into suborbital space, but also into low Earth orbit someday.
Scott and Mikhail, we send our best wishes for the duration of your mission, and look forward to talking to you both when you return to Earth.
Мы вас поздравляем и желаем всего наилучшего, и с нетерпением будем ожидать вас на планете Земля после завершения вашего полета.
Great talking to both
большое
of
за
you.
это интервью. Спасибо за хорошие пожелания.
Thank you very much for this interview. Thank you for your kind words.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.